Let's talk about why I personally love EU citizenship and why you might love it as well. I'm also going to throw in a couple of cons to keep this video balanced. Let's get started with the first big pro, why I personally love EU citizenship. Okay, let's talk about freedom of movement, a very important point. As an EU citizen, I'm a citizen of Austria, I can go live in other EU countries pretty much without a lot of hassle. Okay, I can go there. Yes, I have to register, meaning when I'm in an EU country for more than 90 days, and in some cases it's less, I think, I would have to register, right? I have to become a legal resident in that country to make sure I'm following the legal code to a T. Yes, I gotta do that, but as an EU citizen, I can go live in Italy, I can go live in Sweden, I can go live in Belgium, I can go live in Portugal, I can go live anywhere I want. In Bulgaria, I can go live anywhere I want. This convenience is priceless. This convenience is one of the major benefits of EU citizenship that so many people want to accumulate, right? Want to have these days. And EU citizenship is great for that. And that doesn't just apply, to people from Austria. This applies to pretty much anybody and everybody. So if you want to go live, work, or study in an EU country and you happen to be an EU citizen, then you can do that. It's pretty easy to do. You just book a flight, right? You grab your passport or your EU identification card, right? Your personal identification card. You take them with you and you can go live in another EU country without applying for a visa, without proving economic solvency. If we compare this to somebody from Asia wanting to migrate to Europe, they got to prove a lot more, right? They got to prove economic solvency, they got to apply for a visa, they have to meet certain financial requirements, they have to make certain investments, and it's not so easy, right? Or if you, as a European citizen, want to go live in Asia, it's the same, right? You don't have the freedom of movement anywhere else in the entire world. So if you want to go study in a different EU country, you don't have to apply for a study visa. You don't have to do that. You just pack your bags, grab your passport, grab your EU identification card, and off you are. That's all you got to do. Same if you want to work. You don't have to get a work permit, right? You don't have to get a work visa. Nothing like that. You just, again, grab your documents and you leave. But there's no visa application process needed in order to start working for a company located in a different EU country, assuming you are an EU citizen. Another big pro of having EU citizenship is, of course, safety. And safety is an essential component of life, right? You want to feel safe. You want to feel secure. Who doesn't want to feel safe and secure? Very few people do, right? Living in the EU, especially the bigger cities and certain neighborhoods in the bigger cities that have definitely become more dangerous in recent years, we can definitely say that European countries are among the safest countries in the entire world. Yeah, there's a high standard of law enforcement, a strong rule of law. Yes, we're having more problems these days than we did in the past, maybe 15, 20 years ago, but still, EU countries are safer than Latin countries, are safer than America, and are safer than certain Asian countries, certain Middle Eastern countries, certain African countries. So with that being said, EU citizenship also gives you safety in terms of having the freedom to choose where you want to live. You don't have to live in a metropolitan. You can, and maybe you should if you're a startup entrepreneur, but you can go live anywhere you want. You can go live in a village. You can go live in a little town, right? You can go live in a regular sized city. You can live pretty much anywhere that you want. But as a rule of thumb, EU countries, and again, with few exceptions far in between, are very safe. With EU citizenship also comes full company and property ownership in other EU countries. You've heard me talk about this a lot on the channel. I'm a big advocate of this particular topic because I'm a person who believes in being able to own what I purchased, not putting it under the name of a different person or company just for me to be able to own it. I don't believe in that. And that's unfortunately the case in many Eastern countries and partially also African countries. But still, it's very important to have this flexibility. You want to have this flexibility. And as an EU citizen, let's say I want to go live in France, I want to go live in Portugal, I want to go live in Poland, I want to go live in wherever, Belgium, Netherlands, right? Ireland. I can go live in any of these countries and obtain property and purchase property under my personal name. I don't have to marry to put the property under my wife's name. Don't have to do that. I don't have to form a company in order to purchase property. Nothing. This law, right, is pretty universal throughout the European Union. And certain countries like Bulgaria have restrictions for people from outside the EU who want to purchase property and land in their countries. Whereas an EU citizen like myself, I can go to Bulgaria and purchase real estate without too many problems that other people are having, right? Other people outside the EU. And so this is a really, really big advantage. The same also holds true for owning a company. You can go start and operate a company in any EU country without having a local partner. This is something that's very, very uncommon in Asia. In Asia, if we take a look at Thailand, if we take a look at other countries, right, the Philippines, where it is so difficult to start a company. Like in Thailand, you've got to have a local partner. Yes, there's an exception to the rule, and that's if you're an American, right? If you're a US citizen, you can go live in Thailand and you can open and operate a company without having to put a local partner under the company, right? Very, very important. So you want to have these great benefits, right? And with EU citizenship, you have these benefits when living in a different EU country. I want to touch on a very important point, and that is cleanliness, a point that is rarely talked about on this platform. So many people are wondering about the best places where they can move to in order to enjoy cleanliness, such as air quality, air purity, right? Just clean streets, clean beaches, and parks, you name it. People want to enjoy cleanliness, and cleanliness is an underrated point that so many people tend to forget. They always think about money, how they can make more money. Nobody cares about air quality. Nobody cares about clean parks. Nobody cares about being in a place that's nice and organized. I love that. I love that. That's very important to me. And so because of that, the European Union and also North America and also Australia, New Zealand, also parts of North Asia, right? Northeast Asia are just the cleanest countries in the entire world where you can enjoy high levels of cleanliness that ensure or lead to high life expectancy, right? If you don't have that, if you have to live in a place with very low air quality, with very low air purity, then you might die younger than somebody who lives in a place with high air purity every day, every week, every month, every year, every decade throughout his life. For the most part, the EU is a very pet-friendly geographic location. Meaning you can take your dog pretty much anywhere you want. You can take your dog on the tram with you. You can take your dog on the bus with you. Of course, there are exceptions and there are certain rules to obey. You can take your dog on an airplane with you. Let's say you have a little doggy and you want to travel with your doggy to another EU country. You just put your little doggy, let's say your dog is under 10 kilogram or under 8 kilogram, put your dog in the doggy bag and off you are. You can fly with your dog in the cabin of the aircraft, something that is not possible for flights happening within Southeast Asia, right? Or even happening within Africa. Very few airlines allow that. And this is very important, very, very important. If you love pets, then the EU is definitely a good place for you. All right, let's talk about some of the cons because we want to keep this video balanced. One of the biggest cons that I've personally seen, and I've lived in the European Union for like 21 years, something like that. And it's very important that we look at things objectively and also look at how things have changed recently. And what I'm talking about here is, of course, the bigger cities. The bigger cities, maybe even all of them, have just become more dangerous in recent years. And that has a lot to do with the migrants coming from certain countries. It also has to do with the fact that we have open borders, right? And open borders have invited people in from other countries who run organized gangs, organized crime groups. And so we're having more problems in Europe today than we had 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, right? It has gotten worse. While having more people in the EU made it stronger in certain ways, it also made it weaker in other ways, right? There's no good without bad. There are no positives without negatives, and we can definitely see that this has taken place in the EU. Let me give an example. When I was in Vienna, Austria the last time, and I was waiting for the tram outside the tram station, I witnessed how a guy pulled out a knife right in front of me and threatened another guy. Nobody knows why. And it was just very crazy to witness that during daylight hours. You know, it was during the day, it was in the morning, you know, not early morning. It was maybe like 11 a.m. in the morning. Crazy that this kind of stuff happens or happened at that time of the day, and it shouldn't happen. And when I talked to my grandparents about that, they told me this would have never happened in Vienna, Austria, you know, when they grew up. And so this has definitely gotten worse. We're having more crime. And one thing I almost forgot to add is that we're having more drug-related problems. There are a lot more addicts running around today than there were 50 years ago. Things have gotten worse in that sense. Okay, another big con that my fellow YouTubers love to talk about, and I agree with that con, is of course the high taxes. The European Union has among the highest taxes in the entire world. Okay, we're talking Holland, Belgium, Austria, Germany, France, Spain, you name it, Italy, right? These countries have among the highest taxes in the entire world. That's of course if you're falling into one of the highest tax brackets, which many of us do. And so the question is, are you getting enough value or not? And this is a question that you have to answer for yourself personally. But many people, many entrepreneurs have left the European Union or have moved to other EU countries with lower personal income tax rates and lower corporate tax rates for the simple reason that they want to keep more money. And who can blame them, right? The good part is that you can go live in Bulgaria, you can go live in Romania, and Bulgaria is great. The income tax rate is capped at 10%. The corporate tax rate is capped at 10%, right? You pay a 10% flat personal income and corporate tax rate in Bulgaria. Romania also has very favorable tax rates, right? Of course, there are other countries like Monaco or Andorra that also offer very low tax rates, right? But you know, you might not want to live there because you have to stay in these countries for a certain number of days per year. Another con is that we're moving towards a central bank digital currency that nobody wants. Nobody asks us whether we want this currency or not. Some people want it because they think whatever the government does is beneficial. I kind of don't agree with that. We want to have hard money. We want to have hard assets. And we want to have hard money that's tied to intrinsic value, meaning coins that have monetary value, that have intrinsic value, you know, that are tied to metal like silver, gold, platinum, palladium. We want to stick with hard money. But we have hard money now, but still hard money with not much intrinsic value at all. It costs a couple cents to produce a €100 bill. So there's no intrinsic value there. Real money is predicated on intrinsic value. And intrinsic value is something like gold, silver, platinum, palladium, right? But that's not the case anymore. It's not the case since a long time, since decades right now. And it's sad. It shouldn't be like this. Like, our governments can print whatever they want, and they keep doing it because that's how they stay in control. They can accelerate the inflation if they want to, so they can collect more tax money. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy what's going on. The EU used to be a concept that people would get excited about. And I'm not saying that nobody gets excited about the EU today. I'm just saying that the EU has gotten a bit less attractive in recent years. Now that I told you why I love EU citizenship, I want to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe now and turn on alerts to never miss any of my future nomadism, dating, and business advice videos. Thank you for watching.